Greetings everyone, my name is Dominic and today you're tuning in to the Comic Book Report, where we review comic books and graphic novels so you can get an idea of what to read. And today I am elated, I am excited, I am simply over the moon because my most anticipated comic book release of the year is finally here. And of course, as you can see, it is the All-New X-Men Omnibus by Brian Michael Bendis from Marvel Comics. Yes, this was my most anticipated release of the year, and I thought I would do a quick overview video looking at the build of the book, what it includes, and just a sampling of what you can expect from this omnibus. I've always been curious to make my way through this as a Bendis and X-Men fan. Somehow this one slipped my reading radar, and I have just been waiting for a collection like this to come along. Thank you so much, Marvel, for putting this one out. I can't wait to talk about it today. But before I do, just a quick shout out to the channel sponsor, Panel Bound Comics. If you're interested to pick up your own comic book collected editions, maybe even this book, I highly encourage you to check out their website. You can find a link to them in the video's description, and if you see anything on the site you like, you can use my discount code at checkout, TheComicBookReport, to save $2 off of your order. Please note if you use my affiliate link or code to make a purchase, I will earn a small commission, but it's a great way to support the channel. Thanks, now on with the show. Okay, and here's our dedicated first look at the front dust jacket cover for today's Omnibus edition, and right from the jump I will say that this is the standard edition cover release. There is also a direct market cover courtesy of Alex Ross. I'll throw up a quick thumbnail just so you can see the other option and compare and contrast. I think that the direct market might also have a different image on the bottom of the spine on the dust jacket. Other than that, I believe that these books should be identical. I prefer the standard edition that has art indicative of what you can expect in the run, but both are very strong covers. Now, as we make our way to the spine, of course we have the Marvel Omnibus logo, then we have this beautiful field of baby blue, the all-new X-Men logo, Brian Michael Bendis and some of the other creators, and the picture window at the bottom. Really like the spine design here. I'm a sucker for that shade of blue. And now as we make our way to the back cover of today's dust jacket, we have some blurbs about the collection. We have that all-new X-Men logo yet again, a description, what it includes, the Marvel logo, pricing information, some more art from the collection, which I'd love to see. Again, all pretty standard fare here, but overall, again, I just love the art direction. I think this dust jacket does a great job of selling the book, at least for me. Really good stuff, Marvel. Okay, and now as I like to do with these overviews or review videos, I will examine the dust jacket in greater detail. This time I will remove the dust jacket. You'll see the interior flaps, which in this case have some additional writing and some pieces of artwork. I will spread out the dust jacket so you can see it all at a glance. We don't really have any wraparound imaging here, but you do get another look at that beautiful dust jacket. I again am really impressed by it. I love that shade of blue. I love the all-new X-Men logo, and I just think everything here just looks so sharp. Transitioning to the hardback book itself, though, we do have a wraparound art print from the run here. We have Jean Grey experiencing all these different moments from her life or her future self's life. Anyway, I thought it was a great way to depict some of the central conflict in this book. I love that we have a wraparound image here. We don't have any text whatsoever, just this beautiful image broken down. For fans of Jean Grey's Phoenix, this is a really fun look as well at just some snapshots of Jean Grey's life. And now that we're done with that look at the exteriors, I did want to transition to a quick look at this book's binding. So it is a sewn bound book here. We have some nice glossy print paper stock, and as you can see, there is a little bit of an eye in this collection. I wonder if as I read more, if the eye will become more pronounced. I will say though that this book lays down fairly flat, and there is minimal gutter loss, so overall no complaints from me. I think it is well bound. Okay, and with that out of the way, we can dive into today's collection. After some more beautiful blue end pages, we do have a title page, followed by a kind of two-page spread, creator breakdown page, kind of shows you who did what issues, what's sort of included in this collection. We have some publication information. Then we have a whole page kind of giving us a previously on X-Men. I think pages like this are really what set apart Marvel omnibuses for me. I feel like in so many cases, we have these little paragraphs or essays that really give us context, especially if you pick a volume up like this and you don't have the full picture of what came before. It really fills you in on what you need to know. After that, we jump into the first issue of All-New X-Men, and we are off to the races. Now, before I talk a little bit about a general overview of what you can expect from this run, Let me provide a few more details about the omnibus itself. So this omnibus, like I said, was written by Brian Michael Bendis with other creators like Mahmoud Ashrar and Stuart Immonen, among others. As I mentioned earlier, we do have a sewn binding and glossy paper stock, but we do also have a total of 1,048 pages. And this omnibus collects the All-New X-Men issues 1 through 15 and 18 through 41, along with Guardians of the Galaxy, the 2013 series, issues 11 through 13. Interestingly enough as well, this run ran in tandem with another Bendis X-Men book that can be considered kind of companion piece, and that is his run on Uncanny X-Men. Now, my understanding is that run is also getting an omnibus treatment in November of this year, 2025. I personally can't wait to check that out, especially now that I'm reading and enjoying this run so extensively. Okay, setting up the premise for this run though, in case you're going in totally blind, I am trying to make this review kind of spoiler light, or really as much as I can. Again, this is an overview and just kind of a showcasing of my most anticipated release of the year, rather than a full-on extensive review. If you'd like to see that, let me know and I will try to provide one for this book upon completing it. But again, the central premise here is that the X-Men are in the wake of the Avengers vs. X-Men event and era, in which Scott Summers' Cyclops made some pretty striking decisions that really fractured and shifted the X-Men and mutants in general within the Marvel Universe. There's a huge division here, and a lot of people think Scott Summers has kind of gone off the rails. And while this is happening, Iceman says a comment, something like, if young Scott could see him now, he wouldn't believe it, or he'd beat him up, or something. But this gets Beast thinking. What would the present-day Scott Summers do if he was confronted by his younger, arguably more idealistic self? So Beast creates, in some ways, a little bit of a time paradox and brings the young X-Men team, the original 5, Cyclops, Marvel Girl, Jean Grey, of course, Beast, Angel, and Iceman from the past when they are just starting their team into the present after all this trauma and history has ensued. And he wants to confront the younger Cyclops with the present day Cyclops. Well, from that basic premise, things go awry as they often do in X-Men books, and we follow this young group of X-Men, now time displaced, dealing with the trials and tribulations of trying to establish themselves in this world. We also have them confronting the other X-Men teams and just villains and all sorts of things. We definitely get into a lot of hijinks. There also appears to be a lot of cross-pollination with that aforementioned Uncanny X-Men run from Brian Michael Bendis, so I'll be interested to read that run and kind of get the other half of the story. But what we read here as its own set, I actually think is pretty conclusive and awesome. Admittedly, I am only about a third of the way through this omnibus, but it is very hard to put down. I think the characterizations are all rock solid, and I love to see Bendis' imagination at work here. I think the character voices all feel very true, and I liked kind of juxtaposition between the younger, time-displaced team and all of the more seasoned present-day mutants. I also like this sort of through line of how is this going to shift the timeline, is it, and kind of what are the implications of all of this. That kind of running through the run has been in the back of my mind, and I've enjoyed the tension there. I also like to see who cameos or which characters are brought in and out of this run. I think the artists we have throughout most of this run as well is absolutely just amazing. The artists that are drawn to this run I really, really enjoy. This is a period of X-Men I've always wanted to delve further into. Again, as a growing X-Men fan, I just love collecting these runs that I've never had the opportunity to read. And as a longer-term Bendis fan, this was really on my wish list. I almost bought smaller collections, but I always held out hope that we would get a big omnibus like this, and now that I finally have it, it is an absolute dream. And the fact that after all these years and expectations, it's somehow so far better than I expected, I'm just really loving the ride so far. This has honestly been one of my favorite highlights of the month so far, reading and collecting, and I just wanted to showcase it. I would be curious in the comments, how many of you have read this all-new X-Men run? Have you read his run on Uncanny X-Men? How do they compare? Which do you prefer? Do you plan to pick up this omnibus? I'd love to hear all of that and more in the comments section. I also will say I went into this run like kind of light on details. Of course, I've read House of M, I've read the main event for Avengers vs. X-Men, and some of Messiah Complex, and some of the runs adjacent to this. I was aware of kind of these young, time-displaced X-Men when I saw them pop up in other books, like I think Guardians of the Galaxy by Bendis had some again, cross-pollination or work with these characters. So I was aware that this occurred, but I just never read the proper issues, and now's the time, and I'm having such a good time. And I think that's probably enough flipping through the issues. I will go ahead and skip ahead to the back of the omnibus where we have a lot of the extras. I am happy to see a generous amount of extras at the back of this Omni, mostly in the form of variant cover art. We have a nice gallery here at the back. We also have production artists, image, and kind of original art, reprints and things like that. You get to see various stages of production for some of the art. I would have loved an afterword or essay from Bendis. I think that would have been such a wonderful extra at the back of this collection, but I am still happy to see a wealth of artistic extras. I think it helped pad out the collection nicely. Again, I am still making my way through the volume, but I do plan to do a review because I'm just enjoying it a ton. But I hope in the meantime this little overview will suffice for all of you. If you've been curious about this collection, I hope this brief video has helped you feel a little bit more informed about it and that you can know what to expect a bit more if you choose to pick it up for yourselves. And I think with that, it's going to wrap up this brief overview for the All-New X-Men Omnibus by Brian Michael Bendis from Marvel Comics, my most anticipated comic book release of this year, 2025. Thank you so much for watching. Again, let me know in the comments if you're deciding to pick up this omnibus or not, if you've read this run or not, and what you think. That would mean the world to me. Thank you again so much for watching, and until next time, this has been the Comic Book Report. Please don't forget to leave your like, those comments we talked about, and maybe share this video with a friend. Thanks everyone, bye.